Today on the show we have a very, very special guest. He is a freshman at Normal Community High School in Normal, Illinois, and he has countless achievements to his name. He has used his proficient skills in ham radio operation to communicate with some of the largest and most profound astronauts in the world, including those that are situated in the ISS from NASA. These skills have then transferred over onto his national level robotics team, which he is sponsored from the corporation known as NASA. And finally, our special guest today has brought us back down to earth and shown us that he can really give back to those who have started him off on his great adventure. And without further ado, it is with great honor that I present to you our special guest for today. Hello there, Dhruv Rebba. Nice to meet you.
Hello, nice meeting you.
All right, Dhruv, thank you for gracing us with your presence on the show. And to start us off, tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you like to do?
So, my name is Dhruv Rebba, and I go to Normal Community High School, and I live in Normal, Illinois. It's near Chicago, and I was raised here. And and in my free time, I hang out with my friends, play basketball with them, and like maybe watch some YouTube videos in my free time.
Dhruv, behind you I see some very fancy radio equipment. Obviously you seem to have a very involved past in this radio field. Talk to us a little bit about how you got into this field and what you do with your equipment.
Yeah, so it's called ham radio. It's also known as amateur radio. So like you have to get a license from the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, in order to operate them. And pretty much what it is once you get your ham radio license, you can operate on a multitude of frequencies on the radio spectrum. And ham radio is pretty much a different medium for communication. It's kind of like how data is sent and received. Like you can send data with it, you can do voice, you can do Morse code, and a lot of different stuff. You can also use it to talk to the International Space Station. The ISS uses amateur radio as a backup communications, as a contingency plan, and it's also used for in emergency situations like natural disasters and all sorts of stuff. So for example, in Puerto Rico, when they didn't have communications there after the hurricane, a lot of ham radio operators went there to provide communications to the Red Cross and to assist the Red Cross in order to find survivors and people who need help, and until there was some kind of communications.
All right, that's very amazing. And how have you personally used your radio equipment over here, or your association with the ham radio?
I volunteer a lot for local marathon races, bike rides, and all sorts of stuff like that. So we provide marathons communication in case if anyone needs help, you can just talk to net control, and net control is the main person at base kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And
so Dhruv, when did you get started with ham radio? I know you have a couple records. Can you talk to us about that?
So I originally got started with ham radio when I was 9 years old. My dad has been a ham radio operator for about 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he got me into it, and I went to this ham radio convention in Dayton, Ohio, and I went there, and there was a bunch of cool stuff there. So, and I got inspired to get a license myself. The summer following that, I studied for the exam with my dad, and he taught me stuff like radio propagation. You have to know basic electronics, radio, how radio frequencies work, wavelengths, and all sorts of stuff. So I learned all that, and I passed my technician class exam at the age of 9.
Oh wow! And that sets you as what, the youngest?
The youngest ham radio operator of Indian origin.
Wow, that's quite an achievement. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you've come a long way since you've broken a couple world records of being the youngest ham radio operator. But now behind you, I see there is a lot of radio equipment. What do you do with this ham radio operation kit when you're at home?
So when I'm at home, I talk to people from all around the world. So I have an antenna in my backyard. There's a coaxial cable that goes through and connects it outside to the antenna, and it's like it's an omnidirectional antenna, so it goes all directions.
Yes.
So I can talk to people from all around the world. I've talked to a lot of people from like the United States, Canada, and Mexico, but and like a lot of times I like talk to like some like people on ships in like the Pacific sometimes. That's fairly common, especially like in the nights. And like I've also talked to people from Malaysia once.
Wow.
That's pretty nice. And yeah, so it pretty much just depends on how good their antenna is and like how yeah.
And so, what do you talk about when you connect to these ships and these random people?
So,
not random, but operators in Canada.
Yeah. So first we would exchange call signs. So every ham radio operator would have a call sign. Mine is KC9ZJX. That's my call sign, and every individual person would have their own call sign based on what country and like what region they live in.
Kind of like their call ID or their phone number.
Yeah, like KC9 means that I live in the United States in the 9th region, which is like Midwest area.
Of course. Yeah.
So yeah, so pretty much that's their call sign is like their handle, kind of. So we exchange call signs, and then we can pretty much talk about anything. Like normally it's like it can be like what equipment are you using, or like some experiments we're doing at home, and yeah, it's a good way to exchange knowledge with like other like enthusiasts around the world.
Of course.
Yeah.
And mentioning enthusiasts and their equipment, I know you have a lot of equipment here. Was there anybody in your life that gave you an inspiration to start going into this field of ham radio?
Yeah. So originally my dad has had his call sign, has had his ham radio license for the last 25 years, and then my dad's friend came over, Ramon, V2MYH, and we went to a ham radio convention in Dayton, Ohio. So in Dayton, Ohio, like there's a bunch of cool stuff. There's like booths everywhere. It's like the largest ham radio convention in the world. There's like more than 20,000 people who go there every year.
Just to the convention.
Just to the convention. And there's a lot of cool stuff. So I got inspired by that. And there's also this one ham radio operator, Kelly Hall. K1LLY is her call sign. K1, yeah. She also helped me she told me about the license exam and the FCC, all of the FCC stuff that I'd have to pass and everything else.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So you tagged along with Dad and just kind of infected you with that.
Yeah. And I've been going to the Hamvention ever since I got ever since I was 9.
So Dhruv, I know you mentioned that how the ham radio works is that it bypasses any kind of cell towers and just kind of ricochets off the environment. But if we go a bit further than that and into space, I know you've delved quite a bit into communicating with the ISS. So can you talk about how you first got involved with that and how you kind of brought it to your own school?
So I first got involved with it at the ham radio convention in Dayton, Ohio. There was a booth, an AMSAT booth. It's a satellite corporate, and AMSAT is a satellite corporation. And while I was at the AMSAT booth, I got like information about like this one program called the AIRS program, and I thought it was cool. So I talked to like my science teacher at Chittix when I was in 6th grade, and we worked some stuff out with the principal, and like eventually after a few like proposals, we got it accepted by NASA. So and then after we got it accepted by NASA, like we had to send like like a plan on like how we will set it up, and we had to have an antenna, a backup antenna, like a backup station, like another radio, like in case the first one doesn't work, and NASA gives us like a specific time spot, like a specific like time frame, as to like when to as for like the contact, and normally it's a 10-minute contact, and for ours it came in on. The ISS came in on the west coast, like southwest corner of the country, and moved up like this and
towards the Midwest and stuff,
and over Maine.
And so you told me that you kind of were the brainchild of this entire experience. How do you feel knowing that you caused such a once-in-a-lifetime experience for many students in Chittix and pretty much many across the nation?
Well, I feel good about it. I feel it kind of like inspires me to do more.
And so, what do you generally talk about with people in space?
Well, normally it's just general questions like maybe like what experiments are you working on, or like if it's like a really specific question like how did that spacewalk go?
Or, yeah, of course.
Like if you've been like following the ISS spacewalks and everything.
And is there sort of an educational purpose to this, or is it just to kind of show the world what can be done with the power of radio?
So the AIRS program is a program that like promotes science, technology, engineering, and math, and it's like it's kind of to increase enthusiasm of ham radio in space, like overall, and that's kind of the point of the AIRS program.
Well, I must say it is a rather brilliant expedition that you've led on, and I'm very grateful to be a part of that. And Dhruv, with all of this equipment comes a lot of knowledge in like the hardware and how they're built. And I know that you have a lot of experience in that field as well, especially since you've been working a ton with robotics. Tell us a little bit about your experience and your history in robotics.
Yeah, so I first got into robotics in like 4th grade, into Lego robotics, and with EV3, and there's like competitions for like with Lego robotics, and there's like a 4-H competition and something called FLL, and like I did that for a few years. And then after that, once I got to 8th grade, I joined this local team called Metal Cow. And Metal Cow is an FRC team. The FRC stands for First Robotics Competition, and we make 120-pound robots every year in like a 6-week time frame, and we build it all from scratch. We do all the electrical ourselves. We code it all ourselves with Java. We code it all ourselves. The metalworking. The welding and pretty much everything from
start to finish.
From start to finish, they give us like a theme. Like this year, it was space related.
No.
Convenient. Yeah. So this year was space related. So there's like a game every year, like with missions that you have to complete, and so we built it from scratch, within a 6-week time frame.
And obviously. How does this competition further? How far have you made it in this competition?
So this year we're actually going to the World Championships this year. It's in Detroit, Michigan. So we won. Yeah, we won the Engineering Inspiration Award, and we're sponsored by NASA. Cause like to go to Worlds, there's a $5,000 registration fee. So NASA is sponsoring the entire registration fee in order to go to Worlds. So yeah.
So it really shows your level of skill in robotics is how you've been able to pull a resource such as NASA to gain an interest in this completely almost unrelated field of robotics. I mean, I know that they work with space as well, but it's pretty cool how you've gotten them to see your true skill and almost sponsor you for such a hefty amount. So good luck at Worlds this year.
Thank you, yeah.
And Dhruv, I know you've been working at a very, very high level and almost into outer space with a lot of your activities. Now let's bring you back down to earth and to reality. How do you help out your community that doesn't have to deal with large corporations or world's championships?
Yeah, I started a robotics club at Grove Elementary School, and I run it.
Nice.
And I run it. It's been this is the third year that we've been doing it, and I helped start the Pepper Ridge Robotics Club as well. And pretty much we teach Lego robotics to 4th and 5th graders there. Maybe even third through fifth graders there, and we teach the basics of Lego robotics. So then if they're interested in it, they're enabled to go further into the robotics field.
So that would be nice to see another young Dhruv Rebba rise up once you're possibly in college, and we can see that name in the pantograph as well. Is there anything other than robotics that you tend to spend your time to?
So I do a lot of so I started a nonprofit organization.
Wow. Tell us about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's called a Universal Help Foundation. And I started it late last year in 2018. Fall winter time. And so it's a nonprofit organization that's aimed at helping people all around the world from all backgrounds achieve a more quality life. And so far we have digitalized a school in India. It's in a rural village, and everyone from the school comes from below the poverty line.
Of course.
And all of the students are merit students, and all of them come from below the poverty line. And we digitalized the school, gave them computers, a projector, and a UPS and an uninterrupted power supply, because power outages are
very common in India. Yes,
they're rather common in India. So with the uninterrupted power supply, they can learn continuously.
And have you helped them globalize? Have you given them an internet connection, something to help them connect?
So they do have an internet connection as well. So, and the computers also do come with curriculum from the Indian state government.
Oh, okay. So,
they're from the state of Andhra Pradesh, and
I like that initiative from you, trying to get somebody from the lowest rung of the social ladder and help them really climb up by providing them with the rungs, such as digitalizing their entire school.
Yeah, because especially in this day and age, it's important.
It's crucial.
It's important. It's very important for people to know how to use the basics of using a computer and so on. So and in the future, we're planning on doing more with locally in the United States as well. We have some plans to do more that are currently underway, and the goal is to eventually in a couple of years maybe move to do more in India, and maybe even some more in other countries as well, some other countries and places that people aren't as fortunate as well.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I know that you've had some experience and have some fun stories when you use your ham radio experience in some local bike races or some volunteering events.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about a couple of your more memorable experiences from that?
Yeah, so we volunteer a lot. The local ham radio club volunteers a lot at marathon races and bike races, and so we pretty much be going around and making sure no one's tired or fainted or anything.
Of course, yeah.
So and there's one person at net control. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's another person, but there's one person at net control who's at the base and
can connect. If you guys see any emergencies, he can connect you to the authorities.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen any emergencies?
Yeah. So once there's someone who she couldn't get far. She was very, very tired.
She couldn't continue.
Yeah, she couldn't continue her bike ride. So I contacted net control, and they sent their little emergency vehicle there, and they got her and took her to the base. And and another Another time was like when like a ham radio operator like ran out of battery, so we thought he was like lost somewhere, but we ended up finding him and we gave another battery.
So you helped the person that was supposed to help others.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty funny. I know you got declined in your offer to help out with a major hurricane, but hey, every declination or mistake is only one more step to keep you pursuing for that.
Yeah.
And once you come of age, I know you will do great things in that field as well.
Yeah.
So Dhruv, you're a man of many experiences and many achievements. And what would you say is one thing you'd like to convey to the younger generations, or even kids your own age, who are trying to look to pursue their passions in this world?
So I would say, like, if you have a passion, just like go for it, like delve right into it. Because if you have a passion for something, you're really going to get far. And at the same time, like, don't forget to like help other people, because not everyone has like the same like opportunities and not everyone is as like privileged as you are. So it's important to help other people and understand that like some other people are not like in the same place as you are.
So thank you very, very much, Dhruv, for coming to our show, and I hope you've had just as much of an interesting experience as I've had.